Welcome to Just One More Watch. Not often that you'll see the word best on a thumbnail and video title on this channel, but I think that today's watch, the Traska Summiteer, certainly justifies that label. I reckon it is the best non-homage Rolex Explorer alternative that you can buy if you're on a budget. Now, I review a ton of micro brands on the channel. If you're looking to pick up a watch for $500 or less, there are hundreds and hundreds of different brands they are now vying for your attention and your hard-earned dollars, and quite often you are rewarded by going micro rather than mainstream with some great value packages and some really interesting designs. Having said that though, a lot of new companies that launch on market do so with a fairly generic design. You'll see an awful lot of companies launching with essentially a Submariner homage. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort and a lot of money to launch a new watch. I don't think people realise quite how much of all of those commodities are involved. So it's a brave company that does something a little bit different, and I think Traska is one such company. I reviewed their first model, the Freediver, around the middle of last year, and I thought it was excellent. A 40mm dive watch, but certainly not a Rolex Submariner homage. Different hands, different indices, a very different look, different materials, different colour schemes, and an interesting scratch-proof coating to help that stainless steel stay in great shape for long term. Today it's their second model, and this time it's a Rolex Explorer but with certainly one or two twists. It's got that classic 369 in Arabic on the dial, but no Mercedes hands here. You certainly couldn't call it an homage. It does, however, wear magnificently. It's got that same easy wear that the 39mm Explorer does. That's why I think this one is going to be a big hit. Now, this one's a prototype. By the time you watch this video, it will be on its way back to Traska. However, if the campaign is successful, they will send me one in the colour of my choice in due course. Let's flip the camera and have a look at the Summiteer then. Indeed, let's have a look at this Traska Summiteer then. This one goes live on Kickstarter on the 28th of October. I can't put a link to the campaign in the description of the video, but I will leave a link to the Traska website. You can have a good look at it, do some additional research there. 3 different dial variants are available. I've got the sage green one, there's also a midnight blue one and a jet black one. Important to note a couple of things. Their website has them listed at $500. Apparently the early bird specials on the campaign will be for $400, and I think you get a very, very nice watch for your cash if you manage to snag one of those early bird specials. And you get to choose the colour of the second hand. I think that is very important. I'll talk about that later on. You don't have to have the green one with the sage dial. You don't have to have the white one with the blue dial, etc. You can pick and choose. There is also a high polished silver option available. One other minor point to note, this is the old leather travel pouch from the Freediver. They'll be doing something a little bit more special for the Summiteer. So 38mm in diameter, but don't worry if that sounds small. I actually thought it was a 39 or a 40 until I got the calipers out. Only 10mm thick. This one has a Miyota 9039 movement, a very short stack movement. Not all watches take advantage of that though, but Traska have with this one, and it wears really, really well as a consequence. 46mm lug tip to lug tip, 20mm lug, tapering down to 16, back up to 17.5 at the clasp, and sized up for me, 7-inch wrist. This one weighs just over 120 grams. So a really, really great set of dimensions. And you notice here, it's got that inverted mid-link of the end link. So it wears a treat, this one. It really, really does remind me a lot of the 214-270 39mm Explorer that I had an extended borrow from Mr. X earlier on this year. So 316L stainless steel case, crown, bezel and full stainless steel bracelet. As discussed in the intro, Traska have their own proprietary coating that they apply to all the stainless steel surfaces. Regular stainless steel has a Vickers hardness rating of around 200. Apparently these watches are going to be treated up to about 1200. So if you are going to be wearing this watch as a daily, it should stay in better shape for longer. And much like the Freediver before it, it's a really well thought out, well machined little watch with some great touches. So horizontal brushing, radial brushing on the lugs. We've got radial brushing on the top of the bezel. Nice little smooth high polished edge to the edge of the bezel and a nice high polished chamfer there transitioning between those brushed surfaces. Very, very nice indeed, and it looks very well executed. The crown has got that. Now I called it a Celtic swirl last time. I'm not quite sure what it is, but really nice little addition there. So much better than a micro brand just coming out with a logo in block capitals, as many of them seem to do. And drilled lugs, harking back to the older, smaller 36mm Explorer. A boon if you intend to swap it back and forth from this bracelet, but the bracelet really is so good you probably aren't going to bother. It is a 3-link oyster style, just the right amount of flex to add a little bit of extra comfort when it is on wrist. Nice curvature to those individual links and screw links as you see. The clasp again features that little swirly logo there, again features the high polished edges, double security pushover and some perlage work as a nice little touch, just like the Freediver did before it. And you get 4 levels of micro adjust, pretty much just what you'd expect. Zoomed in on the dial, and like I said, 369 in Arabics and the triangle up at the 12. I mean, it certainly has taken its inspiration from the Rolex Explorer, but those big diamond cut, polished, beveled sword hands and that particularly noticeable second hand in bright orange here mean that it is not an homage at all. Traska automatic and that swirly logo again printed on the dial. Summiteer printed above the 6. That's all really clean, very, very nice indeed. And I do like those long baton indices and the little single rail with the minute markings around the outer edge. Nice clean dial. Perhaps you can see there the inner ring is recessed, so it's got a kind of bowl to it to the middle. Nice details. Again, they're not overdoing this one at all. It's a very subtly done dial. Brief loom video. BGW9 on the hands and on the indices. This is a prototype and John from Traska has assured me that the production units will be better. There will be more layers, there will be more loom applied everywhere. That'll give you an idea of what it looks like after dark though. Lots on the hands, you know, big broad hands, plenty of real estate there though, so this bodes well for production units. Now, popping a link to show you that Miyota through the exhibition caseback. It doesn't actually say whether that is a sapphire or a mineral. Again, check the Kickstarter campaign for more details. Screw down caseback, screw down crown, 10 atmospheres, 100 meters of water resistance. Just what you want from a kind of sports field style watch like this one. Now, that is the Miyota 9039. Again, nice touch. It's not a 9015, it's the proper date-free model, so there's no ghost position on that date wheel. 24 jewel, Japanese made, hacking and hand winding, high beat, automatic movement, 28,800 vibrations per hour. So you get the nice smooth sweep of the second hand. And once again, the little Traska swirl there printed on the rotor. It's a very attractive movement, these Miyota 9000s. I do rate them highly. One thing to note though is that they only wind in one direction. So there is a noticeable noise and a noticeable rotor wobble with these ones. They do tend to spin and spin and spin and spin long after your wrist has stopped moving. And Traska will be regulating all of these Miyotas to 4 positions before they ship the watches. Which again is another nice little touch you don't often get from a micro at this price. But for me, the real appeal of this little watch is how it wears, and it wears absolutely beautifully. Like I said, just like the 39mm current model Rolex Explorer, it's got the right weight, the right shape, the right taper on that bracelet. It sits nice. I've been wearing this one a little bit loose, not above the knuckle as I usually do. Because it's a little bit smaller and a little bit lighter, I can wear it with comfort down below the knuckle. That's a proper overhead shot for perspective. Like I said, don't be frightened of that 38mm diameter dimension. This one looks bigger because it is bezel-less. It is all about the dial, and watches that have quite big, broad dials do tend to look larger than they actually are. But again, the other side of that, if you're a guy with a slightly smaller wrist, this is going to be a real treat for you. Compact lug to lug, and the inverted mid-link means it wears fantastically. Very, very nice. Taking it outside, you can see it is nicely legible in natural light. Not sure how much AR coating is on that sapphire crystal. Certainly it's glinting away in the late evening sun here in Sydney. Mind you, the original Rolex Explorer doesn't actually have any AR coating on it at all, so even a little whiff here and there from the Traska is a welcome addition. But just sits so nicely on wrist. If only all watches were this comfortable. It really is a treat to wear. So as you can probably tell, I am a big fan of the Traska Summiteer. Then this is the kind of stuff we want to see from micro brands. Take inspiration from a classic model, but don't rip it off. Do your own thing with it. And this is, I think, a great example of that. Some really nice little touches here from a small company. Great case finishing, the chamfered edges here and there. Love that little Celtic swirl that they've applied at various points, but they haven't overcooked this one at all. Really nice clean dial design, regulated high beat movement, and a proprietary hardened coating on all stainless steel surfaces. I think this is a watch you can have a very long and happy relationship with if you picked up one of these, especially at that $400 price. But it can't all be sweetness and light, Jody. What are you going to complain about today? Well, as nice as the 9039 is, I might have paid an extra $100 for a Sellita 200 or an ETA 2824, but that's just me. Leave me a comment, let me know what your thoughts are there. And as nice as that flat sapphire crystal is, and it keeps it down to 10 mil, maybe just a little bit of dome, just a mil, might have softened up the design yet further without compromising that slip under the cuff ability, if there is even such a thing. And like I said early on, you're gonna have to be careful about the choice of colorway on the second hand. It is quite a big second hand and it is quite dominating on a plain dial. So think carefully before you spec an orange one or a red one. I'd be tempted to go for the more conservative white one, regardless of which of the colorways I end up going for myself. But good for you, Traska. That's 2 watches out of 2 that have done something a little bit different and I think are valued additions to the micro brand canon, if you will. Now, 1 watch last year, 1 watch this year. You kind of get the idea that Traska are determined to expand at their own pace and to get things right rather than just punting out new models every 2 months like some micros do. Good for them. I'm looking forward to the next one already. So there you have it, the Traska Summiteer, watch number 2 from the brand, and I think continuing a tradition. If they keep this up, there's going to be a really interesting range of kind of classic designs but with Traska's DNA running through them. This Summiteer, definitely one of the nicest wearing watches that I have come across in recent months. It wears almost exactly the same as the 39mm Explorer, and if you've ever worn one of those, you know it's a watch that you just pop on your wrist and it's such an easy one to live with long term, and I think the Summiteer will do that. You're going to have to be careful picking your colorway, and especially that second hand. It is quite a dominating second hand, but assuming you're okay with the kind of sage or the blue or some of the slightly unusual colorways that are on offer with this one, I think it would be a great watch to pick up as a long-term part of your collection. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.